Hi YouTube, this is Jen, and I realized today that I had been away for about 5 weeks. Shame on me, but thankfully all has been going well during the last 5 weeks. I think my last update was 3 weeks post-op, and I'm now 8 weeks post-op. So far so good. I had my first fill. Well, let me start by saying I had lap band with plication on Wednesday, February 29th. My starting weight in October was 290 pounds. On surgery day, it was 270 pounds. And today I weighed in at 243 pounds. So that is a 47-pound loss. So far so good. Everything is going well. Like I said, my last update was 3 weeks. At 4 weeks post-op, I had my first fill. It was 3 cc's. So I have a 10 cc Allergan lap band. So my first fill was 3 cc's. Um, the doctor had a little bit of a hard time kind of getting the needle into the port. But it wasn't anything. It was a little uncomfortable, but nothing terrible. He actually numbed me, so I really didn't feel anything. It was more like the pushing and trying to find where the port was. So that was fine. I did a couple of days of liquids, a couple of days of softs, then got to regular food. All was well, no problems. Had my second fill this past Tuesday. Even though I had done well and I had actually lost 9 pounds since the last visit, so that's a little more than 2 pounds a week, and I had done really well. I had noticed in that last week or so I was starting to be able to eat more than I really felt that I should, or I would measure my food, the amount of food that I thought I should have, and I wasn't satisfied. So I was still very diligent and still, I still did what I was supposed to do, but I wasn't necessarily as satisfied as I usually was. So I saw the nurse practitioner in the office, and she decided to do another CC for a total of 4 CCs. She had a very difficult time getting the needle into my port. In fact, she tried 4 times. And the way she described it to me is that my rib cage is very narrow, and so the port is not sitting flat, it's more sitting kind of angled. So she, had a hard time kind of getting into the center of the port where they put the needle. So she had a couple of tricks. I had to do a couple of things to try to reposition my body to reposition the port, and then finally actually the needle got stuck in the side of the port, which was pretty unfortunate. Again, I was numb, and it was just uncomfortable, but the needle was stuck, and she tried to pull it out, and I could kind of feel my muscle pulling. It was weird. It was strange. And so she told me that I was one of her top 5 most difficult fill patients. So, got to win an award for something. So she had to get the doctor. The doctor was able to get the needle out, and after, he was actually pretty quickly able to find the center of the port, easier than he could last time. So, other than the fact of being, other than being a tiny bit sore in that area the next day, that was completely fine. So I did 2 days of liquids. Let's see, Tuesday and Wednesday. I did liquids. Today I did soft foods. Tomorrow I'll do soft foods, and so far so good. If there's one thing I've learned in the last month is that lap band doesn't fix everything. And it's something that I said I knew because I heard other people say that. I've heard so many other people who've been on this journey say, it's just a tool. It doesn't fix everything. You have to do the right things. You have to eat the right foods. You have to exercise, and you have to do all of that. And I thought to myself, yeah, I get it. I know. But I really, really discovered that. Like, it doesn't stop my cravings, and I've had really good willpower for the most part, but it doesn't stop the cravings, and, the carbs go down pretty easy, and those aren't the best things for me to eat. It doesn't fix those cravings for stuff like that. It certainly makes it easier, and it's so much easier to lose weight when you're not thinking about eating all the time, or, when you're full. When you feel satisfied and you don't feel like you have to go back for more. Like, it definitely makes it easier, but you still have to make the right choices. Because I can tell, if I don't make the right choices for a couple of days, like weekends are tough for me, the scale tells me. And I may not have eaten a lot of food, but I ate the wrong food. And the scale tells me that. So, this journey will never end, and I take it day by day. Um, and so far it's been good. Um, I've only had three kind of stuck episodes. Nothing has ever come back up, which is great. The first time I was actually at work in my office and I was eating a hard-boiled egg and it was a little dry, like the yolk. And I don't normally eat, like I'll normally eat egg whites, but this time I ate the whole egg and I ate the yolk. And I think it was a combination of eating it too fast, not chewing enough, and it being too dry. And I could feel it. I could feel it, get stuck. And I thought, oh, please let this not be happening at work. And at the precise moment, somebody walked into my office and wanted to talk. That was awkward. But thankfully, he did most of the talking. And actually, it worked itself out and it, eventually went down. It was very uncomfortable. The second time, I think I was eating some leftover chicken, so it was a little more dry than it would normally be. Same thing. Ate too much, too fast, didn't chew enough. Really, for the most part, this was, my fault. Besides the fact that the food was maybe a little too dry, I think it was a combination of things. And then the third time, oh, I think I was eating string cheese, and that was purely my fault. I ate it too fast, didn't chew enough. So, but all three times it worked itself out and everything went down after a minute, after I kind of walked around. And so I'm thankful for that. I've not had any episodes where anything came back up. So that's good. I tend to be very, very careful about the kinds of foods I eat and how much I chew. Um, Sometimes I just need a little reminder. So anyhow, so far so good. Um, it's been really positive, and if there's one thing that I can say, I wish I had done it sooner. Um, but it's just been an absolutely wonderful, tool, just the whole process. And I know in an earlier video I talked about the whole process with what my surgeon does, just the whole process, thinking of food differently. And and now instead of um, I choose foods differently. Like before I did Weight Watchers and I would say, "Oh, well, I can have this much of bad food because it's, I have points and I can have this much and that's fine and that can be my allowance." And but now I think of things differently. I think, is it the best thing that I need for my body? I do a lot of lean protein and not a lot of carbs, because once I eat a carb, it's like a feeding frenzy and I just want to shove in the carbs. Not good. So a lot of lean protein, not a lot of carbs. And before, like when I do Weight Watchers, it was like, well, I can eat all of these carbs as long as I count it. It was just a different mindset. And now I have this, what is best for my body? What do I need for my body? I have so much more energy. Um, I still have a cup of coffee in the morning, but not because I need it, because I like it and I like the taste. It's not because I feel like I'm exhausted. I just have so much more energy. I can walk in heels that I haven't been able to walk in because I'm lighter and my feet don't hurt as much. Um, there's all these little things that come along with it. People are noticing, which is really nice. People treat me differently in a way, which actually I was discussing this at work with somebody else, who had actually gastric bypass, and she has lost a lot of weight. And she said, it's just amazing that people will stop and help you now that you don't need the help to bend over and pick something up. But before, when I couldn't, reach the floor, you weren't there to help me. It's different how, people treat you as you start to get smaller. It's very interesting. But anyhow, so far, so good, yes, so far, so good. Um, all is well. I'll try to make updates more often. I've literally been away from the computer at home practically for an entire month. So I will try to be on here more often and make more videos. And tonight I had some time to catch up to see how people were doing. It was very refreshing. So I hope everybody is well. Keep on with your journeys. And I will see you soon. Have a great night. Bye-bye.